Hello, I am Lost Generation. This is MediEvil. Welcome to the Enchanted Earth. There's a bit of a delay at the start because I don't know why I can't move. That's why. This level's a little odd. Since you're allowed to visit it early on for the chicken drumsticks, all of the enemies in the first part are... they're still early game enemies, they're quite weak. Which is also why the crossbow's good. It still kills them in one hit, and it's accurate. The second half of the level you can't reach until later, so the enemies are going to be stronger. Just take my word for that. I'm going to waste a few seconds trying to jump on this. I don't know why that ledge is there. You can't get up there. One thing that's... you can sort of tell on that branch will be important, or rather you won't see it because I avoid it. The frogs and all projectile enemies can shoot up and down, which if you're... especially this elevator is the worst place for it, since it's narrow and you can't really avoid anything there. They can hit you and knock you off of it, so make sure you kill the frogs first. Also, if you fall off, it doesn't change direction right away. It goes all the way to the end, and then comes back for you. That's kind of tedious and annoying. Don't fall off. Also, there was money behind that tree trunk. There's... I haven't seen this as much in modern games, but basically I think in any game where something's hidden from you by the camera, you should at least try and get to it. I don't like that they hide stuff there, but they usually do. I didn't read the sign explaining this, so this is going to seem a little less than heroic. Also remember that it didn't work there. The shield also lets you crouch as well as blocking, so here, if you crouch in the middle, you don't take any damage. Also, that's going to be happening quite a bit. I fall off a lot of large platforms in this video. I don't have a good reason for it. Again, if you fell off here, you would lose the life bottle, and you would be put back on the ledge before you got on the elevator. Yet again, you'd have to wait for it. Admittedly, most of the levels would be slower than this anyway, since I do a practice run beforehand, I want to keep the videos short. That was our reason. Now I think about it, it's still not a very good one. I guess we should just assume that thing's evil. Those lasers kill you very quickly. You can't get past them. Or rather, you can't force your way past them.
None shall enter. The shadow demons are entombed within, separated from the world of goodness and light until the earth cracks open. No one, not even the Dark Lord Zarek, can release them without the shadow artifact. Leave now, or share their doom.
You can... when I earlier did the ant nest, you could get this far without the shadow artifact, but there isn't that much point. I don't think it's worth it for the small amount of money. I still don't know who's writing those. Also, this is not a good puzzle. I can't see any indication on that wall picture kind of explaining what order to do them in. So I as a kid, I just did it by trial and error. Most people I know did. This doesn't seem like a good idea. Once again, another level where the chalice isn't really hidden. You'd have to be going out of your way to avoid it. In this case, the difficulty comes from filling it up in the first place.
What have you done? Once again, the shadow demons are wreaking havoc across the land, and it's all thanks to you. The single most destructive and wretched creatures in the history of the world, and you've given them an early parole. They will be heading for the ruins of King Peregrine's castle. Galamir is doomed.
That's not hyperbole, by the way. The shadow demons are the strongest enemies yet. The level is now full of them, and they almost always appear in pairs. Basically, the game's got a big step up in difficulty from this point on. See how much health I lose to just these guys. Essentially, you want to try and use ranged attacks whenever you can. Being near them isn't good. Also, I know I've been using the chicken drumsticks a lot, but this level isn't quite nasty. Since being able to insta-kill a demon and get health back at the same time is really nice, I'm going to be doing it. And I'll tell you now, if I hadn't done it, I would have had a game over. Also, they just spawned while I had the game paused. I imagine other enemies can do it too, but it just seems fitting the shadow demons did it. They still flinch, but it's not as effective as on zombies. They attack so quickly that they can still hit you in between, like, ticks of fire damage. So while you take less damage when they're on fire, they can still hit you. Once again, not taking my own advice, I should not be meleeing this guy. One reason I'm using the chicken drumsticks now is there are stronger enemies than the shadow demons, but I think every stronger enemy after this is immune to the chicken drumsticks as far as I remember. So I might as well use them now. I shouldn't have bought crossbow bolts. They're still the most accurate weapon, but they're way too weak. You can use up most of your bolts killing one shadow demon. I guess the ledge is to force you to use a ranged weapon on that thing, but it just doesn't... it seems a bit pointless. Also, there's going to be a weird quirk with the spawning in a minute. Actually, is it here? Maybe not. Something that does happen occasionally, if you go too far away, the shadow demons despawn, and when they come back, they'll come back with full health. If you started fighting them, you might as well finish it. Also, definitely go into this next part with full health. We just have to get on that platform to begin the Yeah, that's gonna be happening a lot very soon. This boss fight is kind of different. These guys don't hit that hard, but they're hard to hit. And on its own it would just be tedious, but this is actually the closest I've come yet to dying. When they get to 3/4 health, the fight changes completely, essentially. They don't share a health bar. Even though there's only one on the screen, they do have their own separate health, and you could either kill one then the other, or get them both low and then kill them both quickly. That starts happening. But essentially the platform is the boss fight, not the demons. They only do 25 damage, and they hardly ever attack. If you fall off, you lose an entire life bar. One advantage to the fire arrows, I suppose, is... well, as long as they're on fire, they won't attack you, but I'm not sure this is worthwhile as hitting them with spears, since the spears will kill them quicker. I suppose it's just use the strongest weapon you have. Also, don't dash, ever. Essentially, I started panicking at this point and just held down the attack button, so I'm going to lose a lot of ammo around here, but I did not want to start over. Thankfully, once one's dead, it gets a lot easier. Obviously they expected me to nearly die here because there is... how much health? 4 life bottles worth? No, 6, because there's also 2 energy vials. Considering that's the most you can have, I guess the playtesters had this problem as well. Though, a bit mean, if you fall off this narrow platform, you will lose a life bottle. Ah, I remember, this is where it happens. The second guy is going to disappear. And he'll... actually, I suppose you could try and abuse that, so you only fight one at a time. But if you accidentally lose both of them, then they both come back with full health. Also, they do get stuck on terrain, though most of the levels are flat, so not that helpful. From what I remember in the practice run, you can't stand on the platform until you've killed that thing. They take up too much space. Also, this is going to be important in the next level. It puts Dan back on the very edge of the ledge he fell off of. And when you turn, at least with the analog stick, you don't always turn on the spot. You turn in like a circle, where Dan steps in one direction before changing to the other. So if you fall off a narrow ledge, you can expect to fall off it again a few times. It's not too bad here, but it gets worse. Also, Dan already has the chalice, and that's good enough for the whole of Heroes, so at this point I figured I'd make a tactical withdrawal. That level is a bit of a... while the game is definitely harder from here on out, it'll be a while before it gets that hard again. The Shadow Demons are actually less... there are no more levels with that many, and most of the enemies after this are actually weaker until the very end of the game. So it's... the difficulty curves are a little odd, also just showing that there's no alternative here.
1,000 courses for this guy. I bet money you be back pushing old daisies by now. Hey, I have something here for you. You like it very much? You want?
That's it for the Enchanted Earth. As I said, it's quite a difficulty spike. It'll be a while before the game's that hard again. It's still a difficulty curve, but not as such. That's it for now, so I'll see you next time in Pools of the Ancient Dead. This is MediEvil, and I'm Lost Generation. Goodbye.